The situation is, however, different in the districts of Chegegwa, Kamwenge and Isinjiro district in southwestern Uganda, where most candidates, especially girls, have dropped out of school. The district leaders say most of the girls have been forced into marriage by their parents. Medical facilities in these districts have since registered an increased number of young girls turning up for antenatal care.
As a district, we recently registered 15 pregnancies.
Soronavayo, urembere mbije nalimu nali lubuto nga bange yanzulukako yagenda ate nga mama yafa tata nawasa omukazi omulala ne bagenda simanye na gye bagenda.
Our dear viewer, I welcome you in this program, your area at Community Light Media. This program is where we get the wrongs that in the society and we bring them to the desk and we talk about it. I'm MEISA behind the mic to make everything happen, and in this program we want to discuss on teenage pregnancy in Uganda. From the video you have at least see something concerned with teenage pregnancy, and in the studio today I'm with one of the biggest guy working with Kugonza Youth Impact, and is an advocate, youth and girl child, an activist. I want to first welcome him, introduce himself, then we switched on to the program. Sir, you are welcome.
I'm privileged to be here. Thank you for the chance of hosting me on Community Light Media. I'm MUKAMA AMBROSE. I'm a youth and a girl child activist with Uganda Youth Impact Uganda. I'm happy to be hosted. Thank you.
Yes, it's a great pleasure to be with you, and I want to start by telling you that when we talk about youth and teenage pregnancy, it's a big case within Uganda nowadays. Most affected districts, we have Chegegwa, we have Kamuli, we have Isinjiro, we have Kamwenge and Nagalama districts, where are mostly affected with that problem. And would like to know my my boss, I would like to know, what do you think is the cause of teenager pregnancy as it is increased in Uganda today?
Thank you again. When you talk about teenage pregnancy, first of all, teenage, it is like a definition of both. I don't teenage. I'm describing it as, it is like the age which ends with teen, and that range of age, it ranges from 13 up to 19. When you look at in Uganda right now, currently we are in a lockdown since March, and schools were closed, not as a way of stopping the disease from spreading, but more so, currently we have many causes in that. They are both, I can say that they are, some are due to family neglect, others are from like transformation, like there's cause which is like, should I say it is inaction?
Mostly influence of age, yeah,
from one to another, and again it is due to lack of some basic needs among the boys, or among the children, because teenage pregnancy, it affects small girls, but more so it affects the boys. When a boy who has caused that is also a teenage, you see, both of them, they are interacted in their life.
People out there, they may think that teenage pregnancy, it affects one side of the girl. A girl is mostly affected, and because she's the one who carrying the babe, and but the boy also suffer to buy the costs of maintenance and other things. How do you think the thing of age influence is the cause? How do you think age influence is the cause of the teenage pregnancy?
More so, like for me, I can't say age influence is the major cause, because you can see during lockdown, even it increased at the time when lockdown was still. If you got the statistics of March to May in Uganda, when lockdown was still tight, you could see that it's where there were more girls getting pregnant compared to when it was easy. In that period, I can say it was because I think during that time there were in some districts like Kamuli. There was recent a video on an NBS, I think. They were trying to engage a girl to bring a statistics whereby they were saying during that time the girls were more pregnated compared to when it was easy, and they were giving reasons like during that time people were not they were not working, everything was closed, the business were closed, and to find a living, some parents were letting their girls to go to streets at night, private, when the government is not to see. And at the end, you could find, because the girls were not educated, as a way to sustain their life, they entered into things that they didn't understand. I can't say that they were intended to get pregnant, but they could go to search to see how they can manage their life, and at the end, they get pregnant because they lacked knowledge of that. Most of the government is also responsible, because when you look at the child policy in Uganda, okay, right now the one that we have, it states like for a girl to access sex education, she must be 18 and above, or if she's to access between 13 and to 18, the girl should go with the parents. And I don't think the girl can go with the parent, can tell a parent that, you see, my mom, I want to go to get sex education. The girl can't feel ashamed and fearful to a parent. Then again, the cause of teenage pregnancy, there is also family neglect, whereby you find a mother and a parent, they are having some misunderstanding, and that they bring in children, or I can, like, those gender family-based violences, they might be the cause. Because recently I was somewhere, and when I say a girl and a mom, they were, should I say, they were competing for a girl.
They were competing, for a boy or a guy. Eh?
Yeah, they were competing, and in that, I can't. No one can provide with an advice to it because they are
No one could give someone an advice.
Yeah.
As you have heard from him, we see that statistics shows that before COVID-19, 24% was there, and it was like constant. It is normal, and people could get girls could get pregnant, could be pregnanted in that percent of 25. But in that COVID-19, where the schools were stopped and all other things were distorted, we see statistics showing that percentage increase a slight to 26, and a percentage from 4 to 6, it's a big percent. Now we want to know, as COVID-19 and people, students going home for that holiday, or for that short break, we want to know how does it cause that? Does it tell the girls to go and engage in sex? What are you talking about that?
Of course, I'm not saying that the lockdown emphasized them, but when you go again, you look at the redundance. When you are free, when you are free, you can't think about anything. You are just there. You lack basic needs, and you are free to do whatever you want. That's how the girls were getting into sex, because they were trying to see how they can sustain their lives. And again, boredom. When you get boredom and you go to interact with friends, you might get into a trap which you don't expect, like group peer influence, whereby you find there was even an interview. The girl was trying to say that she was in school by that time, and she could see friends. She could see friends getting that, doing things, getting things where you didn't know. And at the end, she started doing them. Then she got pregnant. And if I'm to bring back to that situation of lockdown, when the schools were closed, they had nothing to do. But they could only to do just sit and wait. And even some girls know the life of girls. Many like money. They could get like money when they're at school. They get some small portion of school fees and sustain their life. But when school closed, they had no where to get that proportion and to sustain their life, which is always characterized by money. They got pregnant. Yeah.
Oh yes, sir. As you have heard from him, that is what he can tell us on that teenage pregnancy. But if you have joined now, I want to tell you that the program we are in is your area. Your area is the program, as I've told you, where you discover the problems that in the society. We bring them to the desk and we discuss about them. We find the solution of them. Many problems have been in the slate in Uganda, and not only that. Teenage pregnancy is the problem, but as I can say, like some back 2 years back, I was staying in Tejegwa, at the district of concern, as was mentioned in the video, as it also have an increased number. In the video we have seen that as the cause, we have early marriages, And the early marriage is where you cannot afford everything for your family. That's I can say that it is a cause, and if you find that the time comes and you can't manage the family, that's where family neglect comes from. And you find, let's say you have been with two child, uh, a man leave a wife, and the wife starts suffering. And in most of the time, when you to find like a girl is like 22 in Chejegwa, you find that girl when she's having like 2 children or 3. And imagine if it is to come in like 30s, what do you think? Huh? That's why we bring those problems that are affecting the society to the desk, and we talk about it. My boss, Ambrose, I'd like to tell the people that are watching us right now what could be the solution of the problem of the teenage pregnancy, as you have seen that is the increased case in Uganda. What could be the solution?
Because the simplest solution for me, what I can say, remember when we were studying, we studied ABC, which is abstinence, using condom, abstinence, ABC, being faithful and using condom. But to many youth, it is hard to abstain and to be faithful. So I can advise them to, if they can't manage the two, the main option it is condom, because condom also, when you get into sex, you are not only on a risk of getting pregnant, but also STDs. So I can advise for them, because using condom can control STDs and also teenage pregnancy. Then again, my solution, I appeal to the government, because when you look at the policies of the government, it can't allow a girl to have sex education when she's below 18, and that leaves the girl. Because right now, at a person, the fertility of Uganda, it is high at 12 years, even at 12 years. The ovules, the eggs are ready to come, and the girl, because of the community they live in, you find the girl gets into sex and she gets pregnant. So I would advise the government to reduce to pass the law, okay, to soften the act, to allow the girls to get, young girls to access sex education, even if they are not having permission from parents. And again, also the education system of Uganda. When you look at the education system of Uganda, it is more of theory rather than vocational studies. And when you look at I can relate it with India, because Uganda and India, although India it is more developed than Uganda, but when it comes to girl child, they almost face similar problems. And when you go to the constitution of India, in their education, their education system is more of vocational studies compared to Uganda, which is vocational studies. They are almost less than 10%, and they are not taught in like primary levels. There is no educational subjects, similar to most of government schools in rural villages. Even private schools in rural villages, they have no capacity to teach vocational studies. So I would advise the government to invest more in vocational studies, in that even if the child or girl goes into or fail to access enough education, but when she's having vocational knowledge, she can go and start like a small business tailoring, and you find that in that small business that a girl has started or a boy, he or she is busy, and that child will never think about sex.
Yes, sir. You have talked about the thing of society where most girls are coming from, or society that you are living in. When you consider Buganda, we are the good example where you find children are taught when they are still young, in those things of marriage and having families. They normally term it as okuchalira in school. But I don't know why those things are stopped. Why don't they keep on teaching, carrying out those things, teaching their children on those issues? In case when a girl is coming to that age, and when she faces all that problem, he knows how to go in it and how to come up with it. um I want you to conclude, as your last words, as we conclude this segment of your area.
Before I conclude, I can also talk about there's even one problem that we are facing. Okay, like I can highlight on, I'm going to summarize on the solution and like the causes and even more so the poverty. Because I was reading on National Youth Policy of 2001. I found why youth are getting into even pregnancy sometimes, like teenage pregnancy to a boy or a man is a crime. And what causes that to be a crime, and how one gets into is one, poverty. Poverty has also increased. When you look at you talked about Kamuli recently, the proportion they were giving 1 out of 4, that is 25%. And the number was almost just in a year, they had recorded more than 1,000 recently in 2009 because of the poverty. And then again, there is a problem of lack of guidance and counseling to young girls. That also causes the problem. So I would advise that they change the code. That is how they change, and they invest more in youth care guidance. That is how they will curb the prevalence of the problem. Otherwise, thank you.
um Thank you for having me with us today. I want you, in your last words, you tell something to the people who are watching right now, and you say bye bye to them as we are completing this episode. It's the first episode, and we shall be adding more as many as possible. So we shall be discovering other problems, but today we are on this teenage pregnancy, as it is have been overwhelmed, increases in high rate, high speed. So we need to talk about it and see how to overcome it. But before, I want you who are watching right now, I want to tell you that we are going in elections. A few days, not less than 8 days. Not it's less than 8 days. But I want to tell you, youth who are out there, or an adult person who are out there, I want to tell you that to change Uganda, you need to be alive, or you need to be breathing, and you can't change Uganda if you are dead. So protect yourself as we are going for elections. I want you, man, to give your last remarks as we are ending this show.
My advice, like the remark might be an advice, can be like an advice. The remark can be like an advice. I would advise the youth to concentrate on what they are doing and leave things that will cost their lives. Most girls, they are the ones who are, I can say they are prone to many problems in the world because they are the ones who face problems of teenage pregnancy, rape, most of many things. Let you girl protect yourself. When you are protected, it's when you will see the future life. Future life lies on your hand. Thank you.
Oh yes, as we are coming to the end of our program today, I want to remind you that this program is called Your Area, and it's where we get the problems in a society, we bring them to the desk, and we discuss about it. As I'm concluding, I want to tell you that community right media is the media where we are focusing on the same issues, where we want to bring up the voices to be heard. So remaining MEISA, who is always behind this program to make everything happen. Thank you to have watched this program, and I want you to subscribe or like Community Right Media on Facebook, Vine Television on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you.